I don't know. Maybe I just don't need to sleep. Sleep is overrated, isn't it? I don't know, it might be. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Bean here, and today I'm coming at you with a video that I have not done in a very long time for very good reason, and it's a TBR video. And the reason I haven't done this in a long time is because I am absolutely terrible. Alright, let's just face it, I'm crap at following TBRs. I never do. I am terrible at it. I switch. I'm such a mood reader that TBRs end up becoming very difficult for me to follow. But if you have been on BookTube much, you will notice that there is a readathon going around right now that's for Becca's Bookoply-thon. Becca's Bookoply-thon. For Becca's Bookoply-thon, which is a strange word, but we're going to go with it. And so I have printed it off. I have done the cards, and I am going to use this as my TBR for September. Plus any books that I do need to read as well, which basically means I'm just going to have a really, really long TBR, and it's going to be really intense, I'm sure, because from what I've seen, it's not exactly nice to people. But this is also playing into the fact that I want to create my own TBR game, and it's probably just going to be like a card draw or something like that, because that's kind of what I like to do. So I'm just going to hop right in, and we're going to start with the rolls. So just quickly, I'm going to do 8 rolls, and then any doubles I get will add on to that. So let's get started and see how this goes. All right, guys. So we're getting started here with my Bookoply-thon. I've got a little calcifer pin here, and he's gonna go right here on go. He's all set and ready to go, looking all cute. And first roll is 8. 6, 7, 8. Foiled cover. Nope, you gotta stay on that one, buddy. All right, so the first roll, I ended up landing on a foiled cover. Now this one actually took me a little while to find because I realized very few of my books actually have a foiled cover, but I ended up finding Wicked Deep, I'm counting this as foiled cover, by Cher Earnshaw. And I have not read this yet, obviously, so this will be interesting. So basically my understanding of this book is that it follows a town where there used to be 3 witches who were killed, and they come back every summer, and it looks like the witches come back every summer to steal away 3 girls and then to drown any boys they can. And it follows one girl who I'm assuming is chosen to be stolen. I'm not sure. I have not heard too much about this, but I am intrigued to see what I think of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Community shelf card. Alright. Sorry, I wrote that down, and I don't know why I didn't pick it first. So here we go. Mom pick. I'm gonna give my mom a ring and see if she can pick a book for me. Alright, roll number 2 was the community shelf. So I picked a card, and it said mom pick, and it was a mom pick. So I ended up FaceTiming my mother. I did not tape it, but she ended up picking a book that she has lent to me a while ago, and that is The Lost Symbol by Dan Brown. This is the 4th book in the Robert Langdon series, which is a series that both my mom and I have been reading. Well, she's read all of them multiple times, I think, and she told me that I should read them as well, and so this is the one, and then the last one is Origins, which is the origin story of Robert Langdon. But this one follows him as he delves into the secrets of the Illuminati. And I know that this book is going to be a super simple read. And I'm probably going to get through it in like a day or 2. Because most of these books are very similar plot-wise. But I still find it to be quite interesting at points. So, number 2. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A sequel. All right, the third pick that we have was a sequel. And now for that, I decided to continue with a readathon. And I'm going to try and complete the Stalking Jack the Ripper series by reading Capturing the Devil by Carrie Maniscalco. I have been slowly working my way through this series. I loved the first one. The second one was okay. I did not like the third one, but I have heard really, really good things about this one. So I am anxious to see what Audrey Rose and Thomas get up to in the States. So yeah, we shall see. Doubles. Fire on the cover. So now I'm up to 9 rolls. So roll number 4 got me a book with fire on the cover. And this one actually took me a little while to find because I don't have that many books that have fire on the cover, apparently. Not that are like first books in the series or standalones. I have a couple that are sequels, but I haven't read the previous books, so I didn't go with those. But I ended up picking Trial by Fire by Josephine Angelini. I don't know anything about this book. I've had it on my shelf for, I think, 2 years. And the back just says, I remember what I must do, even if it makes me the villain of my own stories. So I think this is a villain origin story, which would be quite cool. I have no idea. All right, so it looks like the main character is from Salem, and she has life-threatening allergies, and she ends up disappearing to another version of Salem where it is ruled by that world's version of her. So that's interesting. I'm intrigued. So yeah, it sounds like it's a villain origin story, and there's fire right down there. That's all fire. So we're gonna go with it. I'm intrigued. I haven't heard anything about that book for years, so 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Another community shelf. Goodness. All right, this one is a book in Spanish. All right. Okay. The next book. Another community shelf pick, and I know I'm glad for this because I do want to get back into reading Spanish and get my I used to be conversationally fluent in it. And then I kind of stopped reading, I stopped speaking, and I haven't really had anyone to talk to in Spanish. So, but I do have a collection I have all of the Harry Potter books, all of the Chronicles of Narnia, and I've started collecting a couple other series in Spanish, just ones that I'm familiar with and ones that I do want to read. So we're going to read El León, la Bruja y el Ropero, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis. This is technically the second book in the Chronicles of Narnia series, but it's super short for one, and for two, I remember the plot of this book more than I remember The Magician's Nephew, but I will probably go back eventually and reread The Magician's Nephew. I have read it in Spanish once before, but I do want to read this one and see if I can get through it in Spanish. This is an old version, but it's got the old pictures and stuff that I had. I grew up reading this series, so this is a series that's near and dear to my heart. Double ones. 2 friend pick. Rule number 6. Friend pick. Now, this one should have been obvious to me. I had told Callie that I was going to be doing this, and so she was on standby to pick a book for me. Again, I did not film it because she just ended up texting me the book that she wanted me to read, and that book is Aurora Rising by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. I have no reason. I'm not surprised that she picked this one for me. I have not yet read it, obviously, which is why she told me to read it. And so, yeah. This is a sci-fi book that follows, I believe it's 6. The main character's name is Tyler, and he is the top of his class at the academy, but then when he is off on a mission in space, he picks up a pod that has a sleeping girl from, I believe it's like 500 years ago. And due to this, he ends up being late to the ceremony, and so he doesn't get to pick
his crew and ends up with basically the bottom of the barrel group, and that ends up including this girl Aurora. So I am intrigued to see this. I am intrigued to read this. What I basically know about it is that Callie keeps bugging me to read it, for one, as you can see. And for two, she's just finished the second one and keeps texting me, I have feelings, you need to read these now. So, naturally, I am going to be reading this now.
3 more. Nope, 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Another freaking, oh my goodness. Why do I, all right. Book box. So a book box pick, a book that I have gotten in a book box.
Prompt number 7 was another community shelf card, and the card that I ended up picking was book box, so a book that I got in a book box. And so the book that I am picking is 4 Seasons at Angelino's by Caroline McBride, mostly because I'm really intrigued by this story and I really want to read it. I got this in the July Unplugged book box. I have so many books from different boxes, but this one has been sticking out to me and I really want to get to it. What I know about this book is that it follows our main character, Charlotte, who is a travel blogger slash reviewer, I believe, and she goes around to different restaurants in different countries and reviews them for a magazine. And this follows her as she attempts to find love while on her trips. So I am intrigued. I want to read this. I feel like this is going to be a really cute book and just a quick and simple read. So I'm excited to have those on here since I got some big ones already.
All right. Double sixes. Really? Yeah. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. LGBTQ+.
Prompt number 8 was to read a book with LGBTQ plus rep, and I am going to read Ruin of Stars by Lindsay Miller. Now, this is the second and final book in the Mask of the Shadow duology, and the main character in this book, named Sal, is actually gender fluid. This is also a romance there is also a romance between Sal and one of the ladies of the court, and I am super excited. I really just need to read this. I have been looking forward to it since forever, since I read the first one, really, and I don't know why I haven't read it yet, in all honesty. There's no reason for why I haven't read it. There really isn't. This was actually mentioned in my book, in my video about series that I need to complete by the end of this year, or series that I need to complete, and this one was one of the ones that I wanted to finish this year. So now I'm gonna do it! Yay!
No more doubles, please. Okay, I can do 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Another sequel. Okay.
Another sequel. All right, so this is a confession time. I had planned on reading this book already, and it was like all set to read, and then I hit a slump and I didn't end up reading it all the way through. I read part of it and I was really enjoying it, and then I didn't finish it, and now I feel really silly. But it's going to be Soul of the Sword by Julie Kagawa. I have nothing to say. I loved the first book. It was one of my favorite books of the year so far. I just need to finish this trilogy. This is the second book in the trilogy. The third one is right here, and it's Night of the Dragon. And while I kind of know what's going to happen, I still want to read it and know for sure what happens.
2 more. Just 2 more rolls. That's it. That's all it takes. 7. 7. Set in the past.
This prompt was surprisingly difficult for me. And I think part of the reason is because I have a lot of fantasy books, and lots of my fantasy books aren't set like in a specific time period. They're like set in different worlds, so for all I know, that time period could be now in that world. But I found 2 books. So the 2 books that I am debating between for this one, and I guess I'll let you guys pick unless I get into a mood and I decide one is better than the other one. The first one is The Splendid and the Vile by Erik Larson. I enjoy reading Erik Larson's books for the most part. The Devil in the White City is actually one of my favorite nonfiction reads. It's more kind of like a speculative kind of thing, where he just fills in the blanks of what he can. And this one is the saga of Churchill, family, and defiance during the London Blitz. This I actually received, as you can see, I received as an ARC, and then I never read it. Oopie. The other book that I was thinking for this prompt is The Interestings by Meg Wolitzer. This I picked up from Half Price Books, and it takes place right after Nixon steps down. Yeah, right after Nixon resigns as president, so took place in the past.
Last roll. Second to last roll. Another friend pick.
Roll number 11. Not what I planned on today. Roll number 11. Now it's the second to last. Is another friend pick. I went to a different friend this time, because variety. And I went with my friend Christy, who is big into sci-fi and adult sci-fi books, and the book she chose for me does not come as a surprise to me at all, because it's a book that she lent to me a year ago, maybe longer. Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. This is the first book in what I think is a 9-book saga. I know like nothing about it except for she loves this series, and I should not be surprised that she is having me read this one. But it's such a big book. Like, oh, hold on. This book is 560 pages, which I actually thought it was going to be longer than that. But this is 560 pages, so yeah, we shall see how this goes.
Okay, now we're done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Translated.
Okay, last one, finally. So the last roll, the 12th and final roll here, was to read a translated work, and I am going with something short and easy because I have a bunch of long books on this TBR, and I'm going to read Delicious in Dungeon, Volume 7 by Ryoko Kui. This was originally in Japanese, since this is a Japanese manga, and I love this series. It gives me severe D&D vibes, and I absolutely love it. So I am super excited to continue with this series. I have 2 left to read before I am all caught up. So those are the 12 books, possibly 13, depending on how ambitious I get with the book from the past, set in the past prompt. But there are 3 other books that I really do want to read this month. 2 of them I am setting a goal for myself that I have to, and 1 is like extra and is probably a really bad idea, but we're going to do it anyways. So the first book that I really want to read this month is White Fragility, and that is by Robin DiAngelo. This is a book that I want to read in order to continue my education, my self-education, so that way I can learn more about how to be an ally and how to properly do this. So this is a book I do plan on reading. I think it will take me the full month to read it, but I do want to get in and read and learn because I want to continue my education on this. The other book that I really do need to read in September is Truth Witch by Susan Dennard. This is the Serpent and Badger book of the month. So we are planning on doing a book talk about this one. Finally, we'll be back with our book talks. I know they aren't the most viewed videos, but we enjoy doing them, and honestly, it's our channel, so that's what's important. And this, I am really looking forward to this. I have the entire series, or at least what's out so far, and I have them all sitting lined up very nice and pretty on my shelves, and I'm very excited to finally get into this fantasy series. And I know elementals, fantasy, magic, and swords, and I'm here for it. I'm very excited. This last one, I think this is going to be a very bad idea, and I don't think it's actually going to happen, especially looking at my pile of books that I have right now. But I have been seeing on YouTube that there is a read-along starting, and that read-along is for a group of books by a certain author, and I have had this book on my shelf for a very long time, and it's very pretty, and it's very long. But that's Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. So there is a readathon. I think it's the Stormlight-a-thon. I don't remember what it's called. I'll link it down below if I can find it. But they're going to go through and read all of these books. It's long, guys. This is a long-ass book. I know very little about this series, except for that people love it and that it is super high fantasy, and it's got some very tortured characters, and I really want to read it. I've been wanting to read a lot more high fantasy and get into these big books. Plus, this is on my tome list for tomes that I want to read this year, so maybe I'll try and do like a tome topple or a weekend where I try and read this book. But like, this is not big print, guys. This is small print. I did get this book used, but maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do a weekend where I just sit down and I read this behemoth of a thing, because it is 1,001 pages long, or at least my version is. So, yeah. What have I done to myself, guys? Seriously, what have I done? There are other books that I want to read as well, but that's just kind of a constant state of being, is just wanting to read books all the time. And wanting to read all of the books all at once. Or wanting to read no books at the same time. One or the other. That's basically how I live my life, I feel like. Unfortunate. Alright, guys, so that is what I have to share with you here today. This was my September TBR, brought to you partially by Becca's Bookoply and by my own desire to read everything in sight. If you enjoyed this video, now is a perfect time to give us a thumbs up. We post videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and if you subscribe and hit the little bell icon down below, you can be notified whenever we post these videos. All of our links are down in the description box below, including our Goodreads, our Instagram, as well as anything else you could probably want. And I will be keeping updates on this list on my Goodreads, so please go check that out, and you can see how hard I struggle with this. So until we see you next time, please stay safe, stay healthy, and keep reading. Bye! I'm gonna try and lift all of these and try and get them in one picture, but I don't know if it's gonna actually work. Oh, bother. Alright, so these are the books that I want to read this month. There's so many of them, and this is really, really heavy. And oh my gosh, I gotta put this down now.